friends are synths.
When it comes to making videos like this for YouTube, one of the biggest challenges is finding a way to record your voice in a convenient but also kind of high quality way. And if you look up microphones that sit on top of your camera and sync with the microphone in port on something like the Sony ZV-E10, which a lot of vloggers will use, then the problem is most of these microphones are shotgun microphones, meaning that they're uni-directional, so they only point forward. And that's not a huge deal or really a big deal at all if you're doing something like this, which is like a wee talking head kind of video. But if you're the kind of person that's going to be moving about and you want to show off what you're doing and you're going to be turning the camera towards, say, your synthesizers in your studio or something like that, then this isn't going to be a good option at all, because as soon as you go behind the camera, you're not going to be able to speak into the microphone and have it pick up your voice the same way it would if you were sitting in front of the camera. Now, this was something that was obviously quite important to me because I run a channel where I like to move about and show people what's going on some of the time. And so what I tried to do was use one of these things, which I've got here, which is a wee lavalier mic, and I just plugged that directly into the camera, and then I could kind of move about. And it didn't matter whereabouts I was in relation to the camera because the microphone was on me and it would always pick up what was going on. However, even though this particular lavalier mic has got a really long, stupidly long cable, it quickly got in the way because you can't exactly just put the camera down. You're always kind of tangled up or tied to the camera because of this cable. And so I was looking into different options, especially for when I was out and about doing kind of tour videos or kind of on location videos at gigs, for example, and I wanted to switch from talking at the camera myself to turning it around. And I looked at some of the wireless mic options where, you know, you can basically get a tie clip mic, but it's wireless, so you don't get caught up in all of the cables. But the problem with that was it only really picks up your voice. So if you want to talk to someone else and you're behind the camera, then it doesn't really work at all. So I've been looking around and I wanted to share with you my favourite microphone that I've found, because I haven't seen a huge number of people talking about it, and I think it's got quite a lot of features that are worth spending a wee bit more money on than like the Rode or, you know, any of the other kind of normal regular shotgun microphones that are unidirectional. Now, the microphone that I ended up coming across is the Deity microphone V-Mix D4 Duo, and that's quite a mouthful, but the important thing to know about that is that this microphone is not unidirectional, but actually has dual capsules in there. So not only can it get sound that comes in from this side, but you can also tell it to get sound that comes in from the rear. So when you put this on your camera, you can set it up so that it'll be capturing sound from both the front and the back, which is perfect. Now, you might be wondering how that actually works, and if I hold this up to the camera and it hopefully focuses, you can see here that there's a wee switch that goes between just using the front microphone, and then you can switch it to also capture audio using the rear capsule. Now, you might be wondering, why wouldn't it just capture audio from both all of the time? Because surely that's, you know, it gives you more information and then you can strip it out later in post-processing. However, the secret with this thing is that when you switch it on to the second mode here, which is the dual capsule mode, it splits the audio from both microphones into separate stereo channels. So for example, and I can't remember which way round it is, but basically the front microphone will go into the left of your stereo channel, and then the rear microphone goes into the right. Now, if you just take this out of, you know, the camera and then you put it on your video and upload it to YouTube, it isn't going to make much sense, obviously, because you're going to have your front audio on the left and your rear audio on the right. So you do have to go into your, you know, Final Cut Pro or whatever video processing software and kind of mono the channels. And once you do that, you can then, you know, adjust the levels to your taste. But this means that if you're behind the camera and talking and then you turn it around to talk to the front, or you've got people in front of you and you're talking behind, then it's going to capture everything much better than it would with just a shotgun microphone, a shotgun microphone that's pointing forward. Now, I'll give you a demonstration in a minute of what it sounds like to actually use this microphone and go from the front to the back, because obviously I can't really do that properly while I'm holding it in my hand. However, there is something else you should know about this mic which makes it even more useful, and that is you're not just limited to using the rear microphone here. There is actually an input port, or an input jack, or input socket, I guess I should say, on this side, I think it is. And what this allows you to do is plug in a second microphone into this microphone so that you can have your audio coming in from the front, and then whatever audio is coming from your external microphone will be recorded on the second channel. And this is amazing, particularly if you're someone that's doing kind of just synth demonstrations, for example, because that way you could ostensibly plug in a microphone that was connected up to, you know, your mixer or your sound generating source or whatever it is. And then in Final Cut Pro, or, you know, whatever video processing software you use, you'll have the two separate things. You'll have your voice, and then you'll have the sound coming in from the front, or whatever it might be, which is extremely useful. Now, the other thing about this, which is really cool, is that if you combine this with one of those kind of wireless receivers, it means that you could put this microphone anywhere, really, because you could connect up the wireless receiver to this mic and then use both the inbuilt microphone's input and then also the input of the wireless microphone. So it gives you a huge amount of flexibility in terms of where you put the mic. Now, before I go on to give you the sound demo, I'd like to hear what it sounds like in practice. I have to tell you a few things about what's included with it, and also, you know, what the build quality is like, because that is also important. The first thing is you get this wee rather fetching yellow cable, which is quite nice because it's a bit different from the Rode ones, and that plugs into the output of the mic, which then goes into your camera input, which is kind of standard. You also get two of these you know, rather nice, actually fairly good quality wind socks, or whatever you want to call them. They're called different things. And so when you've got both of them on, it's quite a hefty beast, but it's not overly kind of gratuitous when you see it on the camera. It's actually still fairly compact and not too outrageous. However, the one thing that I don't love about this whole thing is that the mount for the actual microphone itself is one of those, I think it's the Lyre mount, which is a, you know, a brand name, which has got this nice wee suspension or shock kind of mount thing on it, which is fine. However, the actual mount on it itself, which connects up to your hot shoe, is plastic, and this does not give me much confidence at all, because I can see this breaking at some point. I would much prefer if this was a metal mount. I'm sure perhaps you could get you know, aftermarket Lyre mounts that are metal, but I don't really know. It's something to be aware of. Just be a wee bit careful when you're screwing it in, I guess, is the one thing to say. Overall though, the microphone itself is metal. It feels really solid, and honestly, I have really enjoyed using it. I don't really think much about chucking it in my bag. I know that it's not going to fall apart, and it does the job extremely well. And if you're looking for something, or you're looking for a microphone, I should say, that will give you much more flexibility than a lot of the shotgun microphones that you see lots of people using, then I definitely recommend this Deity D4 Duo, because I mean, who wouldn't want a second input on their microphone? I'm not being paid by them to say this. It's kind of sad that you always have to say that when you kind of talk about something that's pretty good, but hey. The price of these is about £100. You shouldn't confuse this one with the Mini, which I think is another Deity microphone, because it does not have the second capsule in there. And for £100, I think it's more expensive than a lot of the other kind of budget Rode microphones you can get, but it is definitely worth the added cost as far as I'm concerned. Now I'm going to plug this in into the audio of the camera so that you can hear what's going on. And I mean, one other option actually that's just occurred to me that I should have kind of explained maybe a wee bit better is that you could ostensibly use this on top of your camera, but then plug in a lavalier mic into the second input, which would then give you both the kind of room sound and also the, you know, the close mic quality that you get from a lavalier, which is a nice touch indeed. Anyway, I'm going to give you a wee quick demo of how it sounds on, you know, actually on the camera and when I'm moving around about it. So this is an audio test of the Deity Duo D4, whatever the fuck it's called. It is sitting a wee bit higher on the camera than where I am at the moment because of the way my seat is sitting. So I'm kind of a wee bit lower than the capsule, but if I'm up here you can hear this is now me directly speaking at the microphone. I've obviously had to turn the volume up, or at least the audio sensitivity on the camera compared to my lavalier mic. So the volume comparison, don't pay much attention to that. I've tried to normalise it out as best as I can. I'm sitting less than a metre away, and now I'm going to walk around the back of the camera here. I'm now coming to the right hand side of the camera. I'm now coming behind the camera. I'm now right at the back of the camera, and now I am about, I don't know, 50 centimetres. I don't know what that is for any Americans that are watching, but I'm now at the back of the camera talking away like a fucking idiot, but maybe you'll get the idea. Coming back round the front, and here we are again. Yes, this is the microphone, and what I'm going to do so that you can hear it properly is I will combine the channels into a single kind of mono channel so you can hear the distinction without it kind of being in each ear. So that is the Deity D4. I'm going to switch back to the lavalier mic for my closing remarks because, well, I actually recorded the closing remarks a minute ago, but we'll just pretend that I haven't. So that's that. This is the Deity D4 Duo, and if you're in the market for a microphone that sits on top of your camera that is versatile and lets you do all of your kind of adventurous vlogging things that vloggers do, then this gets the seal of approval from me. Unsponsored, unbiased, but as always, I am open to bribery, so if Deity want to send me any more microphones, I will gladly say whatever you want me to say. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!